America, the early 1900s. Every week, trains rolled into small towns carrying more than passengers and cargo. They carried excitement. Traveling carnivals, county fairs, and exhibitions transformed quiet fields into places of wonder. Bright lights illuminated the night. Music filled the air, and thousands of people gathered to witness attractions unlike anything they had ever seen. But among the games, circus acts, and amusement rides, one attraction always drew the largest crowd: the unmistakable roar of a motorcycle. Long before professional stunt competitions and stadium shows, fearless riders traveled from town to town, risking their lives to entertain audiences. Every performance was real. Every trick demanded skill. Every show left the crowd asking the same question: how did they do that? These weren't just performances. They were America's first motorcycle shows, the birthplace of motorcycle entertainment. But how did these exhibitions begin? Who were the riders who traveled thousands of miles to perform? And how did simple demonstrations grow into one of America's most popular forms of live entertainment? The history of motorcycle stunt riding in America. Episode 3: America's first motorcycle shows. Today, we journey back to the fairgrounds, racetracks, and exhibition arenas where motorcycle entertainment first captured the imagination of America. At the dawn of the 20th century, America was a nation on the move. New inventions were changing everyday life, and among the most exciting of them was the motorcycle. What had started as a practical machine for transportation quickly became a symbol of speed, freedom, and adventure. But owning a motorcycle was still a rare experience. For many Americans, the only chance to see one up close was at a county fair, a state exhibition, or a traveling carnival. These events became the perfect stage to introduce the public to this remarkable new machine. At first, motorcycle exhibitions were simple demonstrations. Riders showed how fast the machines could accelerate, how well they handled rough roads, and how reliable they were under demanding conditions. Manufacturers wanted people to trust their motorcycles. Show organizers wanted larger crowds. Riders wanted to prove what both they and their machines could accomplish. It didn't take long for these practical demonstrations to become something much bigger. As audiences cheered louder and demanded more excitement, riders began adding speed, precision, and daring maneuvers to their performances. What had once been a product demonstration slowly transformed into live entertainment. Soon, motorcycle shows became headline attractions across America. From small farming communities to major cities, thousands of spectators gathered to witness performances that seemed to push the limits of possibility. These early exhibitions didn't just entertain, they introduced an entire generation to the excitement of motorcycle culture. But what exactly did America's first motorcycle shows look like? To answer that, we must step inside the exhibition grounds where it all began. Before motorcycle stunt competitions, before massive motorcycle festivals, and long before millions of people watched stunt videos online, there were the early motorcycle exhibitions. These exhibitions were the foundation of motorcycle entertainment in America. At the beginning of the 20th century, county fairs and state exhibitions were among the most important public events in the United States. They celebrated farming, industry, technology, and the latest inventions. When motorcycles first appeared at these events, they weren't considered entertainment. They were considered engineering marvels. Manufacturers proudly displayed their newest motorcycles, inviting visitors to examine the engines, frames, and mechanical designs. For many people, this was the very first time they had ever seen a motorcycle. Crowds gathered with curiosity. They wanted to know how fast these machines could travel, how reliable they were, and whether they represented the future of transportation. To answer those questions, manufacturers hired skilled riders to demonstrate the motorcycles in action. At first, the demonstrations were simple. Riders accelerated across open fields, climbed steep dirt hills, navigated rough terrain, and completed tight turns to prove the motorcycle's strength and control. Every successful demonstration increased public confidence in these remarkable new machines. But something unexpected happened. The audience wasn't just interested in the motorcycles. They were fascinated by the riders. The way they balanced the machines, the confidence they showed, and the precision with which they handled difficult obstacles turned practical demonstrations into exciting public performances. As crowds grew larger, riders began adding more dramatic elements to their demonstrations. They increased their speed, rode over wooden ramps, balanced on narrow platforms, and performed difficult maneuvers that required extraordinary skill. These were not yet the freestyle stunts of today, but they marked the beginning of motorcycle showmanship. Newspapers promoted these exhibitions as must-see attractions. Fair organizers quickly realized that motorcycle demonstrations attracted thousands of visitors, helping make their events more successful than ever before. Soon, motorcycle exhibitions became a regular feature at fairs across the country. From the East Coast to the Midwest and beyond, motorcycle shows introduced Americans to a new kind of entertainment, one that combined engineering, speed, courage, and spectacle. Without these early exhibitions, motorcycle stunt riding might never have developed into the global phenomenon it is today. But the story doesn't end at the fairgrounds. As demand for motorcycle shows increased, a new generation of performers began traveling across America, taking their incredible skills from one town to the next. These fearless men and women became the country's first traveling motorcycle entertainers. As motorcycle exhibitions became more popular across America, audiences wanted bigger shows, faster riders, and even more daring performances. To meet that demand, a new generation of entertainers emerged. They became known as traveling motorcycle performers. Unlike local riders who performed only at nearby fairs, these professionals spent most of the year traveling from one community to another. Their lives were constantly on the move. One week, they might be performing at a county fair in Iowa, the next week at a state exhibition in Ohio, and soon after at a carnival hundreds of miles away. Every new town meant a new audience, and another chance to prove their skill. Traveling performers usually arrived several days before an event opened. Alongside carnival workers, they helped unload motorcycles, tools, wooden ramps, safety barriers, and other equipment needed for the show. Preparing the arena was just as important as preparing the motorcycle. Every ramp had to be secure. Every board had to be inspected. Every machine had to be carefully maintained before the first spectator arrived. These early motorcycles were far less reliable than modern machines. Long journeys over rough roads often caused mechanical problems, so riders also became skilled mechanics. After every performance, they inspected engines, tightened bolts, repaired tires, adjusted chains, and made countless small repairs to ensure the motorcycle was ready for the next show. For these pioneers, riding and repairing went hand in hand. Practice was another essential part of their routine. Before the crowd entered, performers carefully rehearsed their demonstrations, checking the surface, testing their motorcycles, and making sure every movement could be performed smoothly. Although spectators often saw effortless performances, each successful show was the result of hours of preparation and years of experience. As their reputation grew, some traveling riders became well-known attractions. Newspapers announced their arrival, carnival posters displayed their photographs, and families planned visits to the fair specifically to watch them perform. For many children, these fearless riders became heroes, ordinary people who seemed capable of extraordinary things. Life on the road was not easy. Traveling performers spent months away from home, faced changing weather, and performed day after day in different towns. Yet they continued because they loved the excitement of entertaining people and sharing their passion for motorcycles. They weren't simply riding motorcycles. They were helping build a new form of American entertainment. Their journeys connected communities across the country and introduced millions of Americans to the thrill of motorcycle exhibitions. Without these traveling performers, motorcycle stunt riding might never have spread beyond a handful of local events. As more riders toured the nation and audiences continued to grow, motorcycle shows evolved from small demonstrations into major attractions. America was entering a new era, an era in which motorcycle entertainment would become bigger, more organized, and more popular than ever before. By the 1920s, motorcycle exhibitions had become much more than simple demonstrations. They had evolved into one of America's most exciting forms of live entertainment. Every year, thousands of county fairs, state fairs, and traveling carnivals welcomed millions of visitors. Organizers were always searching for attractions that would bring larger crowds, and motorcycle performances quickly became one of their biggest successes. People didn't come just to see a motorcycle. They came to witness courage, speed, and extraordinary skill. As competition between fairs increased, organizers encouraged riders to create even more spectacular performances. Motorcycle exhibitions became longer, more organized, and more dramatic. Simple riding demonstrations soon included high-speed laps, precision turns, obstacle courses, steep wooden ramps, synchronized riding, and daring displays that tested both rider and machine. Every season introduced something new, giving audiences another reason to return. For many Americans, visiting the motorcycle show became a family tradition. Parents brought their children. Friends traveled together from neighboring towns. Some visitors returned year after year to watch their favorite riders perform. Motorcycle entertainment was becoming part of American culture. The motorcycle industry also benefited from this growing popularity. Manufacturers recognized that every successful performance demonstrated the durability and reliability of their machines. Many companies supported exhibitions by providing motorcycles, replacement parts, and technical assistance to experienced riders. These partnerships helped improve both the shows and the motorcycles themselves. Newspapers promoted upcoming performances, while colorful posters appeared in train stations, shop windows, and city streets. Long before television commercials, these advertisements created excitement wherever a motorcycle show was scheduled to appear. The result was remarkable. Motorcycle entertainment spread from one state to another, connecting communities through a shared fascination with speed and daring performance. As the decades passed, motorcycle exhibitions continued to evolve. New technologies, safer motorcycles, and changing audiences inspired fresh ideas and larger events. What had begun as simple demonstrations at local fairs eventually developed into organized stunt shows, motorcycle festivals, freestyle competitions, and international exhibitions. Today's spectacular motorcycle events, with their professional riders, custom-built stunt bikes, and thousands of cheering fans, can trace their roots back to those early American fairgrounds. The pioneers who traveled from town to town did far more than entertain crowds. They created a tradition that has survived for more than a century. Their passion transformed the motorcycle from a new invention into a symbol of excitement, adventure, and performance. The story of motorcycle entertainment, however, was only just beginning. As riders searched for even greater thrills, they began developing new techniques, new tricks, and a completely different style of riding.